Right, hello everybody. Welcome once again to Who's Wrong on the Interwebs. We're dealing once again with yet another imbecile who is a self-proclaimed arbiter of truth, despite not having the first clue about anything he's talking about whatsoever. I've dealt with this clown before in the past, and unfortunately we have to deal with this clown again because typically with these kind of clowns, they don't pay any attention, they don't learn anything, they just repeat the same message again. With just as much stupidity as they did the first time. So let's hear all about it though. This one is entitled Carnivore versus Vegan, the truth about meat, plants and health. Raw vegan, WFPB, and paleo diets explained. Well, can't wait. Let's see what it's all about, shall we? That sounds like fun. Let's go.
Okay, it's time to set the record straight once and for all with...
Okay, well, if you want to set the record straight, Marcus, first of all, you better educate yourself, completely re-educate yourself as to the truth around what science can and can't tell us, what it does and does not say, and what is patent, clear and obvious about the design by natural selection pressures of human beings over a very long period of time. Because as it stands, son, you haven't got a fucking clue. So you won't be setting the record straight on anything. You will be giving your rancid, pustulous, ignorant, and arrogant fucking opinion is what you'll be doing. So let's get that straight.
This carnivore versus plant-based thing. Both sides think they're right and the other
Well, one of us is.
side is wrong. Meat
Yeah, well, one of us is, Marcus.
eaters will say we are designed to eat meat, and the
Correct.
plant eaters say we're designed to eat plants.
Incorrect.
Let's keep morality, ethics, environmental impact, and sentimental emotions out of it for a minute and just...
No, entirely, permanently, because none of those things have anything to do with the biological design of human beings and what it is we ought to eat for best health. Okay?
Just look at it from a strictly biological point of view.
Right. Permanently. Let's leave everything else out of the discussion permanently. Good.
Let me answer the
Because your ideas about that are also fucking ridiculous. But let's carry on.
most common question right away. Why do so many people get better when they go carnivore?
Because that is the species-appropriate, species-specific diet for a human being. That's why.
They get better because they stopped eating pizza, bagels, pancakes, cereal, bread, pasta, cookies, cakes, sugar, soft drinks, ice cream, and waffles.
See how that's an opinion? Show us the evidence that that is so. I'm not saying any of those things are good things to eat. They're not. But you can't establish that that's the reason they get better. Can you, Marcus? No.
Replace modern processed food with anything found in nature and you get...
Well, modern processed food, Marcus, is found in nature. Because human beings are a part of nature, and the way that human beings have evolved ourselves in terms of technologically, etc., and the way that we produce food for ourselves is part of nature. You fucking idiot. Doesn't mean it's good stuff. It's not.
Get similar
But the appeal to nature fallacy is not going to work.
results. You get the same results and you heal just about anything if you eat just fruits and vegetables
Rubbish.
and greens and nuts and seeds.
Rubbish. False. Yet again, an opinion from an imbecile.
As long as it's found in nature,
Well, we've just covered that. You fucking idiot.
pasta, ice cream, bagels, and beer are not found in nature.
Yes, they are. I've just covered that.
One of the most
Doesn't mean they're good, but they are part of nature. So your entire line of logic is vacuous. You fucking imbecile.
important things to realize here is what most people call vegan is not healthy. Some of the unhealthiest people in the world are vegan
Well, you got something right for once in your life. There you go. Fucking amazing.
because all they eat is dead, highly processed
Dead? What magically happens to something when it's no longer living that changes its goodness for you?
junk. Bread, pizza, pasta, fake cheese, fake meat, fried food, cooked to death food, wheat, sugar, preservatives, processed oils, cereal, jam, syrup, and all that. Just keep going. None of it is natural and none of it
Right, well, so what? And it is, in fact, as we've already covered, none of it is good for human beings. Good. Okay, so you're onto something there, Marcus.
is healthy. They eat junk food. They're
Correct, they do. It's not even food. It's anti-food. It's anti-humanist, nonsensical garbage. What's next?
Junk food vegans, they have health issues.
Yes, and so do other vegans that are not junk food vegans. They have health issues too, some, don't they?
Very few vegans are raw vegan.
Well, raw vegans, they're no healthier.
But raw vegans aren't off the hook either. Most of them are basically fruitarians because fruit is sweet and it tastes good. And all they eat and drink is sweet stuff. Mangoes and bananas and watermelon and grapes and sweet fruity smoothies and tons of orange juice. Sugar, 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 sugar.
Right, so that's a bad idea.
This is also not natural. If you were plopped in nature and you were forced to survive...
We are plopped in nature, you silly cunt. We are fully embedded in nature. We are part of nature. It's got nothing to do with nature. The fact of the matter is, contraindicated exogenous carbohydrates are just that, contraindicated. That is what's causing the health problems. That and plant toxins, anti-nutrients, etc. Okay? Get them out of your life. Eat a diet consisting of the muscle meat and associated fat, mostly of large ruminant animals. Rinse and repeat. Health will be great if you do it long enough.
You would not find a lot of sweet stuff. Most of what you'd find out there would be bland or even bitter, and bitter is actually good for you.
Case by case. Some bitter things are absolutely not good for us, Marcus, you ridiculous imbecile.
It stimulates digestion and it helps clean the liver.
Okay, sweeping generalizations about all things bitter. Wrong, Marcus.
Sweet stuff feeds bacteria, fungus, yeast, mold, and parasites, and fruit is half glucose, half fructose. Those are sugars. The body cannot use fructose, so the liver has to work overtime.
The body can use fructose. In fact, Marcus, in very small amounts. Wrong again.
Time to convert it to glucose so the body can use it. Do not misquote me here. I am not saying to not eat fruit. There's nothing wrong with eating fruit, but...
Yes, there is, you ridiculous, pathetic imbecile.
You can't live your whole life eating nothing but sweet fruit.
That is correct.
Even monkeys know to eat half green.
Well, we are not fucking monkeys, are we, Marcus? So that's completely fucking irrelevant what monkeys do.
And half fruit, plus occasionally some bugs and some other unmentionable gross stuff.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Are we serious here?
If you're mainly fruitarian and your hair is thinning and your teeth are starting to rot, you might want to read my book, Heal Yourself 101,
Or you might want to listen to someone who actually knows what he's fucking talking about, which is not Marcus here. Marcus hasn't got the first fucking clue what he's talking about. So why you'd want to read his book, I've got no fucking idea.
Describes the biggest mistakes that raw vegans make and how not.
Well, yeah. The appropriate diet for a human being is carnivore. Fact.
And how to do it right.
There is no way to do anything other than eat a species-appropriate, species-specific diet right. Because it's wrong. Okay?
Okay, number 2, the paleo argument. People think paleo means cavemen with spears hunting woolly mammoths.
Okay, so now you know exactly what everybody in the world thinks, do you, Marcus? Because people think, you just said. Well, some people think, Marcus, you're not one of them.
Right, and they were healthy and had long lives, and we should eat like them too.
Were you there?
Well, scientific studies
No, not scientific at all.
Analyzing paleo poop found most of what they actually ate was plants and roots.
Okay, right. If I put two pieces of shit together on the ground somewhere, Marcus, and just leave it there, one that's full of fiber, which couldn't be digested, that lasts for a long time and will hold up against the rot quite well, and one which is a turd consisting purely of the leavings of a human who ate nothing but meat and fat. Which one of those turds is likely to become a coprolite at some point more than the other? If you want to talk about actual fucking science, Marcus, what you have to do is look at some actual fucking science, such as nitrogen isotope testing on the long bones, the collagen therefrom, from human beings of all sorts of ages, up to well over 100,000 years, found anywhere on the planet. And see what that tells you about what the diet of human beings actually fucking was, you mindless, arrogant imbecile. Go and have a look. Okay? You are not a scientist, so you are in no position whatever to start talking about actual scientific studies, because you didn't have the first fucking clue about what science is even, let alone where to look for the actual answers that will give you correct, robust, valid information about any given question or moot. All right? You are completely out of your depth. What's next?
They scavenged whatever they could. It's a lot easier to sneak up on a berry bush or some roots than an animal. And yet,
rubbish that we scavenged everything. We started out as scavengers, absolutely. But we were scavenging meat, you idiot.
yes, they did eat some animal foods, which they did when they could, but
No, in fact, the intake of animal foods and human beings across the entire existence of human beings on this planet, apart from the last around about 11 or 12,000 years, was almost entirely meat and fat and not plants at all. That plant material which was consumed, Marcus, was basically fibrous tubers, rooty sort of things, not even carbohydrate-containing ones particularly, rooty fibrous things. Okay? These are the facts, whether you like that or not, you arrogant, ridiculous imbecile.
always hear meat eaters say, our ancestors ate this way. No, they didn't.
You don't have the first fucking clue of how they ate, Marcus, because you are clearly not even aware of the nitrogen isotope testing, which absolutely slam dunk establishes the facts about what human beings did, in fact, eat.
Well, they ate whatever they could. They were omnivores. They ate a
Nope.
little bit of everything.
Nope. That's not what the isotope testing tells us, buffhead.
The average lifespan of a paleo caveman was around 30 years.
So fucking what? What's that got to do with the price of fish in China in 1965? Or anything else? Nothing. Goodness gracious me. The stupidity that drips from the pores of these arrogant cunt stains is amazing, isn't it? You ridiculous buffhead.
That doesn't sound like the fountain of youth to me.
Well, tell you what, Marcus, why don't you go and live back then when you've invented a time machine and see what it is that contributes to the average lifespan that you're estimating for paleo man. Okay? Ridiculous.
Okay, the human body can survive on just about anything. It's one of the most amazing machines ever created. Not
that's ever developed.
Not many creatures on this world can adapt as much as we can in order to survive.
Sure.
And notice I said the word survive, not thrive. There was a guy who ground up his car into a powder, and then he ate it. He ran it through his body, and he survived. Then he says,
yeah, but that's not all he ate.
oh, this is great. Then he did the same thing with a small airplane. Now, does that mean we're supposed to eat cars and airplanes?
Okay, so what the fuck has this got to do with anything, you ridiculous cunt? What is your point here, other than absolutely no fucking point whatsoever?
The body is very forgiving. It's very forgiving. It is designed to tolerate a
Well, hang on, was it created or was it designed? Make your mind up.
heck of a lot. Okay, so why is it so easy for carnivores to get big muscles so easily?
Well, it isn't. It's easier for them than someone who's eating a completely inappropriate, destitute diet, sure, but it's still hard work to achieve, and most people that build big muscles, carnivores or not, tend to be on the juice, Marcus. Okay, because having big muscles is not natural. Okay?
Well, most of them eat beef, right? And dairy, which contain hormones that makes a cow grow to be 2,000 pounds. So yes,
Oh, you ridiculous twat. Fuck me, really? The only difference between a cow and a human being is hormones? Jesus.
if you eat it, it makes you grow too. The term
Oh, fuck's sake. I hope I can get through this.
beef eater, that alcohol, comes from the Queen's Guards in Old England. They were fed beef so they could be bigger and stronger than the average person, hence the term beef eater.
What does that tell you, Marcus?
But those same amino acids, glutamine, arginine, choline, and hormones like IGF-1 that makes you grow also makes anything else grow inside you, also like your prostate or cancer.
Absolute fucking nonsense. There is no evidence extant anywhere in the literature, anywhere on this planet, that can support a claim of any negative health outcomes of any kind on a carnivore diet, Marcus. None. Those are the facts, whether you like those facts or not.
But you're under 50 and you don't care, right?
I'm not under 50, and I do care about my health, Marcus. I also care about the health of others. That's why I spend so much time correcting the ridiculous, errant, pustulous, excremental disinformation from fuck monkeys like you.
Because you lost your fat, you have energy, you don't get sick anymore, and you feel on top of the world.
Geez, all of those things sound terrible. We should stop doing this diet immediately, shouldn't we, Marcus?
You feel great. Okay, fine. On the other hand, there are also lots of vegan bodybuilders out there, and of course, the first thing everybody says is vegans can't look like that without steroids.
Which is true, and neither can carnivores, actually.
It's the most predictable brainwash cliche out there.
Projection much there? Speaking about brainwashing? You ridiculous cunt.
What those commenters fail to comprehend is that those muscles are still made of protein.
Correct. So?
If all they're eating is plants, then obviously they're still getting their protein from plants. Steroids do not make muscle. Those are messengers, just like hormones. They tell the body to work
So another vacuous non-point.
harder and faster, like adding more construction workers so the house can be built faster. But the house is still made of bricks and concrete and wood like any other house.
Okay. Well, if one builder can get access to an adequate supply of good quality bricks, and another builder cannot get the same level of access to the same quality bricks in the same number, which one of those builders is going to be able to build houses more easily, more effectively, more rapidly? I wonder. Okay, so your point is absolutely vacuous again, you stupid, ridiculous boy.
Muscle protein is like bricks needed to build the house, and using more construction workers is not necessary unless you want to build the house faster. Okay, what about fat loss? Carnivores lose fat, right? They look great and have lots of energy.
Geez, that sounds terrible. You should stop this diet immediately, boys and girls.
And they don't get sick anymore, so...
Wow!
Well, so do people on a true whole food plant-based diet.
Absolute fucking ridiculous nonsense again.
Who don't eat bread and pasta. And
why is there an 84% quit rate from all people identifying as vegan of all sorts within 5 years, and 90% of those people citing catastrophic health failure as the reason for so quitting? Why is that, Marcus?
Fruit juice or any refined carbs. They also lose their fat and become lean because...
And their muscle. It's almost as if they can't get access to the bricks. There are also 12 or 13 other required nutrients missing entirely from the vegan diet, aren't there? Yes.
Stuff out of the garden is largely fiber and water. There's no portion control. Fiber and water just goes right through you. It cleans you out. There's no calorie.
It doesn't clean you out at all. In fact, it fucks you up.
Counting. You can't eat too much if you eat a true whole food plant-based diet.
Absolute rubbish. You still can eat too much. And any amount of fibrous plant material in your diet is too much.
Because all that fiber makes you feel full, and
fucks up your enteric function beyond all recognition, yes, and causes inflammatory bowel problems and leaky gut and chronic systemic inflammation, which, by the way, is the actual underpinning etiology of all the biggest killers in Western society.
Most people don't eat whole foods. Like granola bars, bread, cereal, and energy drinks are not whole foods.
Well, neither is anything that is a plant. Plants are not whole food because plants, as far as human beings are concerned, are not food. You silly boy.
And that makes you fat, and that's what most vegans do. It's all processed dead.
Most vegans are not fat. Most vegans are emaciated once they've been vegan long enough. Okay, get your facts straight.
junk that's not found in nature. And this is the part where people say, yeah, but all that fiber makes you bloat and fart. Yes, because your body isn't used to it, because most people have been eating refined carbs and they have the wrong kind of gut bacteria.
Oh, now you're an expert in gut microbiome as well, are you, Marcus? No, you're fucking not. You're not an expert in anything except propaganda and theological belief structures, completely devoid of any logical connection to the objective reality in which we actually find ourselves.
It takes time to get rid of the bad gut bacteria and start growing the good.
Okay, give us a list of the bad gut bacteria, Marcus. What are those? And on what basis do you deem them to be bad? Shall we wait for that?
Ones.
We won't.
All right. Don't start up with the anti-nutrient and lectin and oxalate argument.
Yes, because facts are really fucking irritating to vegans, aren't they? Objective, absolutely establishable facts. They hate those, don't they?
A healthy body naturally has gut bacteria that breaks down oxalates. But eating too much bread, sugar, and pasta...
That's complete nonsense, Marcus. There is absolutely no evidence anywhere extant on this planet that can support that ridiculous opinion. Okay?
Pasta makes you sick.
I mean, Jesus, one of us actually has 20 years experience as a scientist, including, among other things, in the field of human nutrition. One of us has that, Marcus, and it's not you, is it? No.
And rots your teeth, so people take antibiotics, which kills the healthy gut bacteria, and now they can't break down the oxalates anymore. As for lectins, yes, high doses in raw beans are too strong for...
Sit on your fucking hands while you are presenting. For goodness sake.
Straight human consumption. But low doses of lectins found in most plants are actually really good for you.
Rubbish. Some lectins are hormetic in a certain way from time to time, and some are absolutely contraindicated, absolutely, totally not a good thing at any level. Example, ricin. Ricin is a lectin, Marcus, okay? So stop with the ridiculous fucking generalizations about things that you actually have no knowledge of whatsoever. None.
And they have a purpose. Did you know that a study found that
a study, okay,
lectins can distinguish between cancer cells and normal cells and kill them and remove them from the body?
Well, no, there's nothing in that study that actually supports that claim at all. Did you read the thing? Because I did. Doesn't support that claim at all, Marcus. One of us understands science, the process of doing science, the process of getting science published and what that's all about, etc. And the other one is you, okay, by the way.
Stimulate gut function.
Tell you what, though, Marcus, if you want to debate the science, what it says, what it doesn't say, what it's capable of, what it's not, the foibles and flaws in the science with me, all you need to do is send me an email, Sunshine, and we can come online and I'll rip you 7 new assholes because you have no fucking idea what you're talking about. It's ridiculous and you should stop.
Limit tumor growth, and they help you lose unwanted fat.
Rubbish.
Lectins in fava beans, for example, have been found to turn colon cancer cells back into normal colon cells, and this was found...
No, they haven't. No. Again, did you read the study? It's clear you didn't.
Over and over and over by over 14 studies and over...
Oh, over 14 studies. Good. And you're just going to splash them up fucking Mike the Vegan style here without any engagement with the actual studies, what methodology was used, what the flaws and foibles are, what the limitations were, and how the conclusions do not mesh with the actual data presented by those authors. All right.
For 2 million participants. I'll put the links down.
No, there are no studies that had 2 million participants on any topic. Because that's not a study, is it? That's a prospective cohort survey-based thing. It's rubbish. It's not science or anything remotely akin to science, actually, Marcus. If you were a scientist at any point in your life, you'd know that.
Below. Don't fall for the propaganda and the misinformation.
Says this fucking ass monkey. Right, I'm going to take a pause now because I have an appointment, and I'll be back after my appointment to finish off tearing this absolute clown 7 new assholes. So I'll see you then. Alrighty, kiddies, back from my appointment. That didn't take long for you guys, did it? At all? No time at all. In fact, it took a while for me, but there you go. Anyway, let's get back to Marcus and his ridiculous pustulous excremental nonsense. Off you go.
Information from either side. But then there's those deficiencies that everyone brings up on both diets. Modern grocery store protein.
Yeah, but carnivores don't have deficiencies though, Marcus, because everything that's required by a human being can be found in the muscle, meat and associated fat of animals. Everything. In sufficient quantities to support optimal health. And that is not true of a diet that's devoid of animal products. Not true at all. Okay, so we're done with that.
Produce has very little B12 and
none, in fact.
Meat has very little vitamin C.
Which is great because the exact amount of vitamin C that human beings require on a daily basis on a carnivore diet is almost none. So there's no deficiency there.
And it has zero fiber.
Well, that's also not a deficiency because the exact amount of fiber required by a human being is not 1 single gram ever.
Cherry pick whatever you want about either diet.
That's no cherry picking. That's just a statement of facts, Marcus.
But let's not lose sight of the big picture. If you
Right, well, what's the big picture then, sunshine?
stop eating modern processed food like pasta, pizza, cookies, ice cream, and beer, and only eat things found in nature, you will
Well, again, I agree. You shouldn't eat any of those things you've just listed. Fine.
probably heal most of your problems. So in a sense, both
In the short term, until the destitute vegan diet, any vegan diet, until that destitute diet causes a problem with your health, because it will. No two ways about it, sunshine.
sides are right for short-term
No, one side is right and one is wrong, Marcus, and your side is wrong.
results. Do you know what B12 even is?
I do, Marcus, do you?
It's bacteria poop. If you were to go in nature and you pulled a carrot out of the ground and you ate it, there would be bacteria and bacteria poop, aka B12, on it.
Except it's washed, isn't it, by the time you eat it, mostly, and cooked to death.
You don't need to take creatine or carnitine. Did you know the body makes its own? Yup. The kidneys, liver, and pancreas create about 1 to 2 grams of creatine.
So now you've just pissed off on some ridiculous fucking tangent that's got nothing to do with anything here, Marcus. What is your point? What are you trying to say here?
Per day. It's made from arginine, glycine, and methionine. Those are amino acids, and amino acids are what make protein. Okay, so let's talk protein. The body makes protein from amino acids, which are found in both plants and animals.
Yep. So what?
It starts as a plant, then plant-eating animals eat the plants and turn it into protein.
Right. The kind of protein that we do best on is the kind that you find in meat. So?
Which turns into muscle. Almost all beef, chicken, and pork is animal muscle.
Yes. Almost all.
Which is made of protein, aka amino acids.
Yes, we get it.
But if we eat it, it does not immediately turn into muscle in us. The
Correct. So what?
body breaks it back down into amino acids and then reassembles them back into whatever the body needs most.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just because we want it to be making muscles doesn't mean that's what it will be used for. The body
Right, yes. There are many uses for protein in the human body, some of which is muscle building and some of which is not. What's your point?
decides what the top priority is. So if we don't use our muscles, like we just sit around all day, and we don't do resistance exercises or lift weights, then that protein gets used for something else. It can even get turned into fat if the person is totally sedentary.
You don't have to be totally sedentary for some protein to be transmuted to fat.
Meat is easy to turn into protein for humans because the work of the assembling the proper ratios of amino acids has already been done. Plants can also give us the amino acids we need, but sometimes the ratios are different, so several different plant foods need to be eaten to get the proper.
Look, at the end of the day, Marcus, you cannot escape the fact that most people who eat nothing but plants for any significant period of time become emaciated and lack musculature. Okay? Why is that, do you think?
Proper amino acid profile levels, but even though eating animals is an easier way to get the proper protein ratios.
Thanks. There you go. Right. Okay, are we done?
There are issues like animal products have zero fiber.
Well, that's not an issue. That's a bonus because fiber is contraindicated, if anything, in fact.
Which our body needs.
No, it doesn't, Marcus. Not 1 single gram ever. False.
Because fiber is the main food source of our much-needed gut probiotics.
No, Marcus. Your gut bacteria, the speciation of it, the numbers of each species, all of that, reacts to how you typically feed yourself. My microbiome is optimized for a nearly 100% carnivore diet. Okay? So there are no good and bad gut bacteria to speak of. That's just nonsense. And I don't have a bunch of bacteria screaming out and causing me all sorts of problems that are expecting fiber because I don't fucking eat any to speak of. Idiot.
And then there's the issue of hormones. Cow products especially have hormones that make them grow to be 2,000-pound animals. Doesn't matter if it's grass-fed or not. These hormones, if taken for an extended period of time, may again fuel cancer to grow.
So hormones, what are they made of mostly, Marcus? Are they mostly protein-based things, these hormones? Are they? So what happens to proteins when you put them into your stomach again, Marcus, by the way? Oh, yeah.
Like prostate in men.
Rubbish. There are no studies extant anywhere on this planet that can causally point the finger or even meaningfully associate the incidence of any form of cancer whatsoever with the consumption of a 100% carnivore diet. Those are the facts. Nothing else that anybody says on that are facts. They are ideologies. They are inferences, and inferences are made by people who have ulterior motives, aren't they? Okay? Thus, science is clear on this. There is no science on this to establish cause and effect relationships between any hard health outcome and any aspect of human nutrition whatsoever. Period.
Dairy is especially estrogenic because it's full of IGF-1, which
Rubbish. Absolute fucking nonsense. Same argument.
fuels female cancers like breast, ovarian, and uterine, and
They're not female cancers.
prostate also, and
Well, uterine is, obviously.
men and colon. Humans can survive on just about anything for a while, but the long-term effects are what we should be concerned.
Well, effect is the conjugate of cause, Marcus, and it requires science that is able to inform us on cause and effect for you to make that inference. None exists, ergo you are now acting as a theologian, and not as someone who is espousing science. Still.
With. As for those who say that meat is what we are supposed to eat,
They are correct.
okay, let's look at the carnivore animals out there. They don't choose.
What the fuck has that got to do with the price of fish in China in 1946? Not a damn thing. Human beings are a specific speciation of animal. We have our own specific needs. None of the animals that you are likely to mention are humans. Ergo, statements about what their needs are have nothing whatever to do with what our needs are.
Do their food very much. They just rip at their prey and gulp down huge chunks, sometimes even swallow.
Okay, so a stupid, ridiculous, sweeping generalization that's not even correct. Okay, so 0 points for that. Minus several million, you ridiculous, pathetic idiot.
Swallowing the animal whole, feathers, fur, bones, and everything. Their
So what?
stomach acid is so strong, it can break all that down. And
Right, so what is the pH of the human stomach as opposed to many of the other so-called carnivore animals, Marcus? That's right, our acid is even stronger. Okay? Just the facts, though, which I know are annoying for vegans, as I've mentioned, but nonetheless, they are facts nonetheless.
dissolve the animal they ate. Try swallowing feathers, fur, and bones sometime and see what happens.
We are not designed by natural selection process to do that. We have these nifty little things that allow us to do all sorts of stuff that other animals can't do. What is your point? No point whatsoever. This argument, Marcus, is no better than we can't possibly be carnivores, for you see, we lack the sharp, pointy teeth required. Oh my God. Are we serious here?
No, don't. Don't. Okay, you'll end up in the emergency room. Again, we are designed to be able to survive on just about anything if we have to. Plants, animals, anything. Nowadays, we don't have to kill animals, and heck, we don't even have to grow our own food.
Absolute, utter fucking nonsense, Marcus, once again. Yes, we do need to kill animals because we need to eat animals to thrive.
Anymore. We have this thing called grocery stores right now, so it doesn't look like much of a...
Oh, right. So the meat that you find in a grocery store wasn't killed by somebody? Do you have any idea how fucking ridiculous you sound? We do.
Survival situation to me. Anyway, so what are the longest living people in the world? What do they...
Oh, fuck, here we go. The Blue Zones fallacy, the Blue Zones lie, the Blue Zones theology. Here we go. All right, we'll correct it when it's wrong, which will be immediately.
Eat. It's kind of the exact opposite of a carnivore diet. Oh,
no, it isn't, in fact. No. And even if it was, so what? Is the diet of a group of people the only thing that plays into their outcomes? Or are people's lifespans a rich tapestry with innumerate inputs and outputs? Oh yes, it's the second. Ergo, even if you were correct about what you're going to say, which you are demonstrably not, Marcus, so what?
Okinawan, Seventh-day Adventist.
Okinawan's diet is typically based, historically, on pork, Marcus. Pork. Okay, that's an animal.
They eat less than 5% animal products. Most of it's fish.
Rubbish. Post the World War, sure, the Okinawan diet and everything else has changed. Yes, but so what?
Fish or seafood, and the rest is 95% is plant-based.
No, it's not. That's a theology. That's absolutely false. Show me a study which can accurately describe what the diet of Okinawans actually is and what it actually was before the war. Shall we wait for that? Because you won't find it anywhere.
But not refined crap like the modern world. Most of it is sweet potatoes and beans and stuff like that. There's no
rubbish.
No bread, no pizza, no cereal, no cheese.
All right, nobody in Okinawa eats any of those things, do they not, Marcus? Fuck's sake.
Like the modern typical people do. So what most people call plant-based is not the same as whole food plant-based.
There is no such thing as whole food plant-based. That's an oxymoron. As opposed to you, Marcus, who is simply a fucking moron.
Flour baked in an oven is not found in nature.
Yes, it is, because ovens and flour are both found in nature. Both made by human beings, sure, but human beings are a part of and embedded in nature. Still.
Deep fried anything is not found in nature. Look at the label.
Yes, it is. Same argument. Doesn't mean it's good for you, one way or the other. It's just a dismissal of your ridiculous, theological, misdirect, smoke and mirrors, your fucking nonsense, Marcus.
And your fake cheese and your crackers, all those refined oils like corn, soy, vegetable, canola, safflower, palm, and cottonseed, that's what most vegans eat. So
yes, and that's the worst thing any human being can possibly put into their body, bar nothing, I would suggest.
The meat eaters say, ha, see, you need to eat meat. There needs to be a better understanding of eating the way nature intended.
Well, you don't have any fucking idea about nature, Marcus. You think humans are out with nature and not part of it. False.
High-fat animal products have very little sugar or carbs, and they don't raise insulin as much, and they don't cause sugar crashes like the high-processed carbs a typical vegan eats.
Yeah, that sounds terrible. Idiot.
Animal products are high fat, and fat creates much longer lasting energy and it helps keep you feeling full longer.
Geez, that sounds terrible as well.
Carboholics, which is most vegans, eat empty calories and they get hungry.
No, they don't, because nobody eats any calories ever, not one. Marcus, that's basic physics, first principles. I think you really ought to shut the fuck up, actually, until you've re-educated yourself entirely.
every hour. They snack all day and they get fat. Animal eaters don't need to eat as often because they have more energy and they get leaner. So, of
That also sounds terrible, Marcus.
course, they are quick to deduce that animal products are better for you.
Fuck me. That's some good logicking, isn't it? Why can't you do good logicking, Marcus? What is your major malfunction, young man? Other than arrogance, ignorance, stupidity beyond belief. I don't know. Wow.
Remember, though, humans cannot produce their own vitamin C, one of
So?
the most important vitamins for life and health.
No. Wrong.
Or vitamin D, which is another critical vitamin, barely.
Yeah, we get that, though. We've got that sorted, and it doesn't necessarily need to come from diet. Again, Marcus has no idea about the physiological processes involved in any of this stuff, clearly.
Found in meat, and it has zero fiber.
Which, again, we still don't need a single gram of ever, and in fact, if anything, it's contraindicated. Should not be put into the human colon. Causes all sorts of problems, it seems.
I wonder why carnivore people get colon cancer.
Well, tell you what, Marcus. So do vegans. So do standard American Western diet eaters. What's your point? Colon cancer is a thing that happens to a number of people.
Eating only meat results in a gut full of meat-eating bacteria.
Gosh, fuck me, really? What a shock.
And meat-eating bacteria cannot do the things that fiber-eating bacteria does.
Well, that's a shock too, but so fucking what?
Fiber plays a key role in binding and removing toxins, heavy metals, and other waste products from the body.
So what? The human body has plenty of means to detoxify itself. No fiber is required to achieve the goal.
Maybe you've heard of the gut-brain connection and how probiotics affect our mind, our memory, our mood, and our...
Every single thing that you put into your mouth, chew up and swallow is a probiotic of some kind, because they all come with their own flora, don't they? It's a stupid, ridiculous buzz term that means absolutely nothing, Marcus.
Our hormones. Gut bacteria produce short-chain fatty acids.
What, you mean like butyric acid? What happens to that butyric acid when the enteric cells go to use it for energy and other processes? Oh, that's right. It becomes transmuted enzymatically to another thing called beta-hydroxybutyrate, Marcus. Heard of that before? That's right, it's a ketone body, isn't it? So your body is able to supply that particular form of short-chain fatty acid to those enteric cells, either from the lumen side, by means of a small amount of the fermentation of some fibrous material, or, in the absence of that, it can be subserved by being fed to those cells from the circulation side via ketones in the blood. Okay? So we don't need it for that either, you fucking idiot.
SCFAs such as butyrate, which help reduce inflammation, it regulates immune function. Even big-time keto meat eaters like Thomas DeLauer and Dr. Berg talk.
No, none of those people are big-time anything except big-time ego maniacs. Neither one of them is an expert in human nutrition or human metabolism. Thomas, even less so than Eric Berg. All right? So let's get our facts straight here.
Talk about the importance of fiber.
Well, that's because they do not know what they are fucking talking about, Marcus.
Eating only animal products and nothing else is an imbalanced diet, which will eventually make that evident.
Okay, so why would we assume that balance is good in the human diet? It's a great bit of propaganda. It's a great bit of marketing. Oh, balance, of course. It's a great word. It evokes images of, the lady with the scales, everything that's good and fair and just about the universe. Of course we should have balance in our diet. Absolute fucking nonsense. Humans evolved in a specialized niche, nutritionally, just like every other fucking animal. We too have our way of gaining nutrition, specialist, and that is hypercarnivore. Still, you ignorant fucking buffoon.
Figure that out down the road. So high-protein diets are hard on the kidneys.
No, they're not. That is false too. Absolute fucking nonsense.
And they could lead to kidney damage down.
No, false. People with existing kidney damage because of kidney disease need to watch their protein a bit, because that can be a problem for that specific target audience. But a person with normally functioning, healthy tissues does not need to concern themselves with kidney-destroying protein, because it's a fucking fallacy. There is no evidence extant anywhere on this planet that can refute that statement of fact I've just made. Man, your ignorance is only exceeded by your arrogance and your Dunning-Kruger sunshine. You are doing a disservice to humanity, putting yourself forward as someone who's remotely credible when you are absolutely nothing of the sort. It's disgusting, it's disgraceful, and you need to shut this ridiculous fucking channel down, Marcus.
On the road. Again, short-term may show benefits, but long-term effects need to be considered. As for the blood...
Well, great. Show me some studies that can inform us on that, because there aren't any. Because effect is the conjugate of cause, remember? The only way to establish cause and effect is to do an interventional, controlled, scientific study in a metabolic ward lock-in situation over long-term, multiple decades. You'll be waiting a while because that's not practical financially. It's not practical ethically or possible ethically, and it's just nothing. It's never going to happen, okay? That's why this ridiculous theological argument continues to this day, unabated. If science was able to give us the answer on this, it would have done so already, okay?
Blood type diet, I'm the kind that's supposed to eat meat. I haven't eaten meat in 30 years. I'm 62 years old and I'm in much better health now than I was 30 years ago.
So, many inputs and outputs into that.
As for supplements, don't use that as an excuse because vegan food is lacking B12. We live in unnatural houses. We drive unnatural cars. We wear unnatural clothes.
Natural again. All of those things were invented by human beings being entirely natural still.
And we stare at unnatural computers.
You haven't undertaken any unnatural interventions, Marcus, to make your appearance so that you're a lot younger in appearance than what you've just claimed to be in years? Nothing unnatural's gone on there, has it not? Fucking hypocrite.
All day long. So yes, we need to supplement no matter what diet we are on.
Rubbish.
It does not mean our diet is wrong.
Yes, it does. If you have to supplement, your diet is wrong.
That's like saying it's wrong to wear clothes because, well, we weren't born with any.
Well, hang on, Marcus. Which fucking way do you want this argument to go? Clothes are unnatural. So they must be wrong, according to your fucking logic. Wow.
Finally, let's say you come across a field with a cow and a giant bush full of juicy strawberries. Which one does your mouth water for? Okay, I look.
Fuck's sake. Another completely illogical construction there. Completely fucking illogical.
I know most of you already have your minds made up and nothing will change that. You want to eat...
Some of us have a mind, Marcus. Some of us.
Meat? Fine. Do this. You should know where your food comes from.
I do. It comes from this property. Here.
Raise the animal yourself. Get to know it.
Yes.
Get it to know its personality because...
It doesn't have a personality. It's an animal. It has an animality.
It has feelings too. Let it...
How do you know, Marcus? When was the last time you sat down for a good old heart-to-heart with a cow? I was out there the other day talking to some of my cows. I said, how are you doing, ladies? One of them said, moo. And the other one said, fuck, I was going to say that. Fuck, you're an idiot. Ridiculous fucking buffoon, aren't you? Yep.
Enjoy the company of a mate. Let it experience love and companionship.
Love? My God, Marcus. Are you that vacuous? Seems like you are.
Even allowed to raise an offspring. Then when you feel the need for eat animal flesh for protein, kill it. Watch the look in its eyes.
It's not just protein that we get from animal flesh, you silly boy.
As life.
You ridiculous buffoon.
ebbs away from its body. Have a really good look at its last expression and how it looks at you while it's dying.
What the fuck has that got to do with anything, Marcus? No animal wants to die.
Then cut it open, pull out its intestines and its heart, which were working fine just a moment ago.
See, I thought you were going to leave all this ridiculous nonsense out of this discussion, Marcus. None of this has any bearing on the realities of what it is we are absolutely designed to consume, ideally, as a function of both positive and negative selection pressures, which are a thing over millennia, many, many millennia. None of this has any impact on that whatever.
And think of what you did. Would you eat your dog or cat?
No. But so what?
Why not? It's protein. There are other...
Ridiculous fucking nonsense, isn't it? Absolutely ridiculous nonsense. We can make a decision about which animals we eat. There's nothing wrong with doing that. There's no logical flaw in doing that. It's perfectly natural. We form symbiotic relationships with animals like dogs and have done, well, since soon after we developed fire, which is thought to be about 1 million years ago. I shouldn't say we developed fire. We discovered fire and learned how to control it a bit. Okay, about 1 million years. Okay, we also developed a different relationship with cattle, most of us, for example. So what?
They eat dogs and cats in other countries. Do you seriously?
Well, so what? They also don't eat cows in other countries as well, because cows are sacred in some countries, some cultures. So what? People differentiate. Okay? And people differentiate differently. So what?
They think you need to kill animals to eat. I mean...
Well, we do need to kill animals to survive and thrive well. Yes. At large, that is the requirement for human beings. And you're a fucking liar, by the way, Marcus, about what your diet is, what it has been, how long it's been that way, and why it is that your appearance is what it is. Okay?
Do you seriously think you'll be lacking something by eating only plants?
I know it for a fact, Marcus, and so does everybody else who knows anything about this. We know this.
Why do you think some of the world's top athletes only eat plants?
Because they are misinformed, misguided, and they're also in the absolute minority of top-level athletes. I wonder why that is.
The only thing most people lack is proper knowledge of biochemistry.
Yes, including you, Marcus. You have no fucking idea about this whatsoever, clearly.
And body chemistry and biology.
Right, well, you don't know anything about any of those things clearly on the basis of what you've said just in this video alone. Absolutely patent that that is the fact.
People simply believe what they are told or see on the internet.
Including you, Marcus, clearly.
And they simply repeat what others have done.
Yes, you're guilty of that too, Marcus, yes.
Forever. Sure, people have eaten meat as far back as we can remember. Does that mean it's healthy just because humans have done it for thousands of years?
Well, do you know anything about biology, Marcus? The very thing that you've just cast aspersions on others about understanding purely because they disagree with your ridiculous, unfounded theology? Because if you did understand biology, Marcus, you'd understand that positive and negative selection pressures are a thing. So if an animal does a certain behavior for long enough, then its body systems will be optimized for doing that. Won't they? Okay?
Humans also waged wars. They raped and killed and destroyed most of the planet for
Yes, humans are terrible.
thousands of years. Does that
Nobody said otherwise. Humans are terrible.
mean it's right and we should keep doing it? Do you want to keep acting like a barbarian?
Well, when I see ridiculous videos like this one, Marcus, there is that inclination that makes me feel like, you know, my visceral reaction to your ridiculous nonsense is what I'm referring to, which I can't actually say anything about here on the YouTubes because you're not allowed to.
Okay, look, the choice is yours. But
That's right. So you should shut the fuck up, shouldn't you?
if you feel so strongly about eating meat, then take some responsibility and do it yourself.
I do.
Just once. If you
I do.
want to eat an animal, kill it yourself
Yes. No problem.
and see what it's like. Just see what
Yep. Okay. Fine. What's your problem? Do I enjoy it? No. Do I look forward to doing that? No. Do I understand that an animal's life is ending to subserve my life continuing? Yes, I understand that. I also understand that that is natural. Okay? That's how it is. I don't have a choice about it. If I want to thrive and have the best health span and lifespan possible to a human being, I need to treat my body the way it's designed to be treated. Simple as that.
it's like. See how you feel afterwards. Search
Yep.
your soul. Does it really feel like the right thing? Is it really necessary?
Yes, it is really necessary still.
As with many things in life, just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Well, that doesn't apply to fueling your body with the appropriate nutrition. You still need to do that if you want to thrive and survive.
And no matter what diet you choose, pick whatever one you want. It doesn't matter what diet you
That's right. Pick whatever you choose. It does matter, by the way, Marcus, but pick what you want to pick and shut the fuck up. Stop telling people that their choice is wrong because you believe it. Okay? Because if you do, then I'll be back here again to correct you on your mistakes. Again,
choose.
your mistakes from a standpoint of fact.
The general rule is eat things you find in nature as close to
Oh, fuck off, you mindless cunt. You fucking ridiculous fuck splat. You fucking shit stain. Shut the fuck up. I'm glad he's nearly finished.
the form that you find it in nature. An apple
Right, well, everything you find is found in nature the way it's found, because we are all in nature. Still, you mindless cunt.
is healthy, but apple pie is not. Animals are obviously found in nature.
Why isn't apple pie healthy? All the things that are in apple pie are found in nature, aren't they? Well, it's because, Marcus, some of the ingredients, most of them, in an apple pie are not things that are optimal for a human being to consume because they're not food for a human being. We are not evolved to eat those things. Okay? Still.
But we are not designed to eat just animals exclusively.
Rubbish. Absolute rubbish. False. We are, in fact.
That's where people veer off into extremism. Yes,
No, you are projecting again, buffhead. Your views are extreme. They are also extremely ignorant and extremely arrogant. You are a mindless cunt.
people get better eating keto and carnivore, not because of the meat,
Don't lump keto and carnivore together. They are not the same thing or remotely akin, in fact. Once again, showing your ignorance. Incredible.
but because they are no longer eating pizza, beer, ice cream.
You've already said this. It was wrong the first time, conditionally wrong, and it remains conditionally wrong because you have not painted the picture fully.
Pancake, cereal, and chips. Raw vegans have the same health results. And on the other hand,
No, they don't, because the health results of raw vegans do not last, Marcus, at large, on average. Take any given average member of the so-called raw vegan society that's been eating raw vegan for any number of years, and you will find a person who is seriously unwell. That's how it is. Sorry about that. Just the facts again.
vegans are some of the unhealthiest people because they eat processed food, fake meat, fake cheese, mayonnaise, bread,
And because they lack the nutrients that they would require to be healthy optimally, that they would need to get from animal products, because that's the only place you can get them. Still.
pasta, pizza, cookies, cereal, and they drink lots of high sugar fruit juice, so they get sick, right? And the carnivores say, see, I told you so.
Right. And quite rightly so.
Extremism in either direction is not a long-term realistic goal. People do not need to kill animals to be healthy.
False. Well, a given person doesn't need to kill any animals themselves. They can eat meat that was killed by somebody else if they want to.
But it is possible to be much healthier either way if it's straight from nature.
Fuck's sake. Yes, it's possible to be much healthier than a standard diet eater, short term, on a vegan diet. Like 5 years or less is likely. Very few people that eat that ridiculous destitute diet remain healthy much longer than 5 years. Things start to go south at that point, it seems. Again, just go and look at the outcome stats on this. They're quite clear.
One of the worst diets is a high-carb, low-fat diet, which is why so many women end up having their gallbladders removed and end up with thyroid issues.
Just women, mind. Fucking idiot.
There are plenty of healthy fats in the plant world.
No, there aren't. False.
The choice is personal, but...
But no, if you're talking about what is likely to induce optimal health in a human being, it's not a choice. Not a choice at all. Animal fat is the answer, not plant fat. Go and look up deuterium, you fucking mindless cunt.
It's not necessary to kill animals to be healthy.
Yes, it is, still. Yes, it is, still.
Eat whatever you want, but...
No. Well, yes, eat whatever you want, but don't expect that eating the wrong thing will lead you to optimal health, because it fucking won't. Long term. Fact, still.
If you get cancer, I highly suggest switching temporarily to an all plant-based, whole food, minimally cooked diet.
And that's why you shouldn't be giving advice to anybody on any topic ever, Marcus, you fucking ignorant, ridiculous cunt. That is totally unacceptable advice. Totally unacceptable. You ought to go to prison for that alone.
Red meat has arachidonic acid, which accelerates cancer.
No, it doesn't. In humans, there is no evidence whatsoever that occurs in living human beings, or that their outcomes are any worse to speak of at all. Wrong, Marcus. False.
Chicken and turkey is high in choline, which converts TMAO, which...
No, it doesn't. It converts to TMA, in fact. There are bacteria that live in some people that produce an amount of TMAO, but also, when you're fully adapted to the carnivore lifestyle, as you should be, what you'll find is that there are other bacteria that eat TMAO, thus rendering what you're about to say completely fucking irrelevant, because people that are adapted to the carnivore way of living do not have elevated TMAO, despite eating a bunch of choline. Okay? Idiot?
Fuels cancer growth.
No, it doesn't. False.
Dairy increases IGF-1, which makes cancer grow faster.
No, it doesn't. No evidence exists for that either. There's a bunch of reductionist test tube stuff, but there are no experimental studies on living human beings that can support that ridiculous claim still.
And more aggressively.
False.
And if you're raw vegan, know that nuts and seeds and sugary fruits also feed cancer. And if you have cancer, what...
Well, again, same argument, Marcus. No, there's nothing to support that claim either. False.
Whatever you do not go on a fruit juice fast like...
Correct. Under any circumstances, whether you have cancer or not.
Some influencers are dangerously saying sugar feeds cancer and amino...
Well, that we know. Yep. It fuels cancer cells and test tubes, yes, and is likely to do the same thing in the human body, yes.
Amino acids, aka protein, make it grow. It doesn't matter if it's eggs, red meat, chicken, turkey, dairy, nuts, seeds, or tofu. You cannot cheat nature. It always wins.
Yes, in terms of are we all going to die of something in the end, yes.
So no matter what you choose to eat.
Except, you can undertake all sorts of things, can't you, Marcus, to alter your appearance outwardly, at least, to make yourself appear to be a lot younger than you in fact are. Both things that you undertake that intervene with all sorts of things physically with your actual body, and also all sorts of filters that you can use in videos to change how you really do look. That can happen too. By the way, if you're so against things that aren't natural and in nature, then why are you making videos using human technology to make videos, Marcus? Because everything that's not natural is bad, okay?
Eat stuff you find in nature as close to the...
Right, well, that's everything. And no, you shouldn't eat everything you find. You should eat a species-appropriate, species-specific diet. Okay? Still.
Form that you find it in nature.
Again, just the same ridiculous nonsense. Again.
Women, don't let your carb and dairy addiction kill you.
Only women have carb addictions.
The bread, the cheese, the pasta, and the ice cream just isn't worth it. And men, eating meat doesn't make you a man.
No. The things that make you a man are your gene set and the resulting biological processes that stem from there. Okay? Whether you're a man or not is a biological thing.
Strength of character, integrity, discipline, and how you treat others.
Right, well, all of those things, Marcus, you have badly out of whack. Personally, sunshine. You are an absolute fucking disgrace. You are an arrogant fucksplat. You're a cockwomble. You're a shit stain. You are a misanthropist pig. And you need to shut the fuck up permanently.
Does.
Right, so there you go. Marcus dealt with, again, not a single thing backed by any science whatsoever there. Nothing whatsoever. All theology, bluster, nonsense, misdirect, and fatally flawed, illogical models, really. It's disgraceful. Yes, I've been terse, and fucking rightly so. I'm sick of this fucking shit. I really am. It's got to stop. And the way we stop it, boys and girls, is that we all get active in responding publicly to correct this absolute ridiculous bullshit that these clowns have to say. All right, join me next time when someone else will be wrong on the interwebs. Or don't, I couldn't give a shit. It's your funeral. You do you. See you then. Ciao.